Hi, it's Christy. Welcome back to another episode of Well Intended. We are at number 6. I remember saying, I guess I didn't forget. I remember saying I would do something at 7. Do I know what I'm going to do at 7? No, and that's fine. I hope you're doing well. I'm doing okay. I don't know what vibe I have right now. I feel very flustered. So that's fun, I guess, but flustering. Again, trying another setup, sitting in a slightly different configuration today than I normally do to see if that kind of not helps, because I think the other episodes sound perfectly fine, but I'm sitting where okay, remember I said I was doing a external reset, redecoration, decluttering for New Year energy kind of vibe check, vibe release, vibe whatever, vibe reset. So I did that, but I realized, and I guess more that I accepted that the way I was feeling at my work desk, it had bad energy. It had bad energy in the way that I did not feel particularly nice sitting here, because I think my body was still conditioned to treat it like this is where I go for my semi-corpo tech job. And that's energy that you have to cleanse, that I had to cleanse. So this is not to say that my work desk is like a bland space. Anyone who has been on a Zoom call with me will know that I am a knick-knack person and that my space is covered in art and K-pop boys. So what I did was transferred most of my kind of everyday setup and my laptop stand, and my keyboard over to a desk that I had previously been using as kind of like a writing nook. Once I wasn't at my job anymore, I was like, well, I can just repurpose my work desk into my, my everything desk. Like this, lots of space. I can use that for, more creative endeavors with my laptop. But that was clearly not enough, because there was something that was still stuck there. So I moved my, let's say, digital station away to something that feels much cozier and much warmer. And I've moved a bunch of crafting things over to my work desk. So now I have a big cutting mat here, and some supplies for zine making, because that's what I'm feeling really motivated to do right now, is self-publish little tiny guys. And I'm really, really excited about it. I will talk more about that after. But going back to the setup, I'm sitting in my, my usual bar chair. This is great. But normally I would be facing out away from the wall, but I am now facing the wall, where I am just staring at beautiful K-pop boys. And it is making me very happy. Because, it's just not often a view I look at very intentionally, because I'm not facing the wall with my monitors and all this stuff. I'm usually facing out away from it. So now I get to see them, and it's so nice. We love. There's just, Namjoon from BTS holding a cat and a cat mug. Why would I not feel joyful seeing this? Do you know what I mean? It's incredible. So perhaps that's where my some of my joy is coming from, is that I just am I'm changing my views and my perspectives physically, and so get to see things that I wouldn't normally spend as much time being able to look at. And so I get to appreciate beauty and things that I'm passionate about, which is great styling and beautiful people. But yeah, so zines. I don't know about you, but any feed that I'm on right now is populated by a lot of zine content. People talking about zines, people sharing zines. YouTube is a big one because there's a creator on there that I follow. There is a zine maker on there, Braddy X, Bree. This is the thing. Whenever you have a handle, an online handle, it's like, do you say the whole thing out loud? Because sometimes they're just letters, and you're like, this mix of letters or characters was never meant to be said out loud, really, and yet we still do. So they've been super, let's say, influential in how into zines and small self-publishing I'm getting into. Where's the sentence going? I am just really excited. I also just love making things. And just like so many other crafts or processes that have elements of like hand making in them, it combines both a really creative and individual nature to kind of each project, but there is still the repetitive nature of like binding a zine, like binding a small booklet. And that soothes so many facets of my ADHD, which is very nice. It just feels nice. And I've already printed a couple copies that I'm just kind of testing out paper. I had bought a cardstock, like just a small pack of this like fancy paper. I don't even know what I was going to use it for, but I bought it a while ago, like a long while ago, and printed on it for the first time. Didn't go super well. It didn't bond properly to the paper, but it looks fucking sick, and that's great. So yeah, more testing is needed for that particular paper, but like it's so nice to have that physical copy of a thing that I wrote. So yeah, most of the zines, I'm not much of a visual artist yet, of course. That can always be changed if I do more about it. Like art and illustration is very intimidating to me. It doesn't come to me as naturally as writing does. So I'm more hesitant and more insecure about even attempting things. I was getting a little freer with sketching and being okay with like sketching in public spaces, which is good for practice, of course. And I want to get back to that, but it still is scary to me to kind of try and branch out into that area of art. And don't get me wrong, I love also stuff that looks fucked up, but and not like purposefully really good or really smooth or really perfected. But still, it's the perfectionist part of myself and my personality and my brain that stops me from getting into, I think, the mindset to try. So there's some exploring, I think, to do in that area, that avenue. And And I look forward to trying, I think romanticizing trying, which is good because that's also the other thing. The amount of videos and articles that I'm being served right now about trying and the importance of trying is, I don't want to say astronomical. It's pretty up there. But yeah, so it's I think right now I'm also feeling comfortable in a space where I'm not getting too sucked into all of that noise, and I'm moving more into a space where I feel like I can move forward with doing stuff. I mean, I've said it here so many times already about doing the thing, and I do love doing the thing, but it is just as easy to fall into the noise of people just telling you to do the thing. And then you're kind of falling into a trap of your own making. I don't know what it is about that phrase, but I've said it a lot in the last 2 weeks, a trap of my own making. I think it's so fun. And there's a story in that also, a trap of your own making. I think that's delicious. That's so interesting. Anyways, yeah, it's easy to fall into the noise and get really pumped up with, listening or trying to dive deeper into this kind of mindset by reading more content about it, because you're like, well, maybe if I read another post, then I will finally reach this state where I feel like I can do the thing. But that is a trap, because very rarely do you ever start with feeling like you will do the thing. And this podcast even shows that arc. I had to set challenges for myself to do the thing, even when I didn't feel like doing the thing, so that now I do feel like doing the thing, because it's like warming up a muscle. That's what free writing does. That's what sketching does. That's what being in conversation with others and then you do the thing together does. There's more of a Tinder spark there, almost. I don't know what metaphor I'm going to try and turn this into. But there's, we've, I think maybe, I've been seeing takes on this too recently. The kind of self-help revolution, I mean, I guess that's also grifter space, is it not? That's the hard part, is because if something does help you, then I think it is helpful. But very often, the things that are helpful can still be harmful if they're pushed to certain extremes, or it doesn't actually mesh with the way that you as a person work. So yeah, it's hard. I think I've lost my plot. But yeah, I'm feeling really good right now. I'm feeling it's some kind of spring energy. So I was feeling in a funk for a while, a long while. And you gotta celebrate your fucking wins. So we're gonna celebrate some wins. I would love for you to think about the wins that you have had, because I just want you to imagine me. I am also celebrating your wins with you. I have published or printed these two draft zines, and I'm going to staple them, and then we'll see how that goes. I went to a workshop the other day to learn how to bind with thread like a small little booklet to make my own, do a little stabby, make some holes, thread the holes, and you get a little bound book. So cute. I made one with beads and one that closes around a little button, which is great. And I love it. I love making stuff. I love a physical product. I think that the internet and online spaces really help a lot with accessibility and, giving more access to more people. But I am more and more trying to think of ways to pull back and look at what can be done closer to home, closer to home in physical spaces. Somebody used this term with me today, and I'm like, God, that's such a startup, like founder term, but activating spaces. I'm trying to get more involved in that, in certain ways, in ways that still, again, feel sustainable and feel good, but also things in service of community will not always feel incredible because you're looking at the collective and not just yourself. Like, there is you individual in community, but when you're starting to think about collective care and nurturing, and the strength of the collective and the strength of the group, like, there are, things that are a trade-off in order to give strength and to give power and care to something bigger outside yourself. So lots of things, lots of feelings. But yeah, zines. I'm so excited, and I'm having fun. I'm really, honestly, having so much fun making them. And it feels radical in that way to self-publish. It's always been radical in that way. I read an article on a newsletter on Substack, which I'm going to read. There was a really good quote in it that I really liked. Oh shit, I lost the article. Fuck. I navigated away. Shit. One moment. Well, good thing it was the last thing that I read. Okay. So this was titled Shouting into the Void on Creating Without an Audience. It's by Brittany V. Wilder, and the newsletter is called Point of Departure. Brittany this is the first thing that I've read from Brittany, but they had created something called Poetry Club, I think it was, Poem Club, where they print a poem a month, I think, and send it out to the club. And that's cute. I've seen other people with zine clubs and sticker clubs and stuff, and I think that's so fun. But somebody had asked them, would you still do this if you didn't have an audience? Because at the point that they started doing it, they had a large audience on Instagram and TikTok, I believe. And they were talking about this horoscope that they had clipped out of a magazine, which they still had, and how it felt really prophetic and poignant for the moment when, at that time, which was years and years and years ago, they had also done a little club where they were sending something out, and it was much less people. Like, I don't know the number, but let's say, 10 people then, as opposed to like hundreds of people now, or something like that. So difference in scale, right? And, some people would be like, well, is that even worth it? And Brittany's whole thing was to say, yeah, it's worth it because I wanted to do it. And yes, audience means something. You're putting stuff out there so that people can read or view your work or have your work. But if you want to do something, that is also completely valid in and of itself. So the horoscope reads, this was for a Leo sign. It reads, publishing a volume of poetry is like dropping a rose petal down the Grand Canyon and waiting for the echo, said author Don Marquis, speaking from experience. Something you're considering, Leo, may seem to fit that description too. It's a project or action or gift that you'd feel good about offering, but you also wonder whether it will generate the same buzz as that rose petal floating down into the Grand Canyon. Here's what I think. To the degree that you shed your attachment to making an impact, you will make the exact impact that matters most. Give yourself without any expectations. And so I read that, give yourself without any expectations, and I was like, just like whooped me in the belly. Because that just kind of is the thing. But it's the danger and the fear of putting yourself out there, not knowing what the expectations are, or not knowing what the results will be, I guess is more the thing. Whatever your expectations may be. So terror, yes, I could totally put things out, tomorrow and nobody would get anything of mine, or nobody would be interested. And isn't that a terrifying thought? Except I do know that I have some of the bestest friends in the whole wide world, and they would support me no matter what. It has already happened in the past, and that should count a huge whole lot, because I would do the same thing. And it's also that thing of showing support. There are certain people that certain artists, certain writers, certain whatever they put out, I'm fucking eating that shit up so much. So why can't I apply that same ideal to myself? And isn't that also an interesting thought? We do again come to this feeling where I definitely am feeling the urge and the pull to make things and send them out into the world. Like for me, as a single person, operation, to be making something physical and putting it physically into the hands of others. But I'm, of course, afflicted by the millennial capitalist disease and counter urge to make sure those things are financially viable. That tension, really hard to navigate. Just because there's a lot of fear in it. I'm a Taurus. I love stability. But at the same time, it's like, fuck it. A huge fuck it. I'm not aiming for the moon, and I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket, or whatever metaphor you want to use. But I think that's where the ADHD comes in handy, by not putting, all my eggs in one basket. And I never, well, now, okay. Because of that millennial capitalist dream, I don't know, because I don't know if it skipped the Gen X generation, and they were just fine, doing whatever. But I feel like a large number of us, even though, we hop careers, we hop jobs, whatever, we hop interests, it feels like a failure if I, as a millennial, don't or cannot or am not able to succeed at the one thing, and for that to be kind of everything, to hit all of the levels of the pyramid of needs, which is horrifying. That's the worst, because I'm everything in me, and I think everything in a lot of people, goes really directly against that thought. I am neurodivergent. I'm queer. I'm poly. Everything about me is that no one thing can be all of everything for you. Like, you must diversify or you will die, basically. And that's so then it is really insidious, this feeling that the single thing must be the thing that you enjoy, is very financially sound and leaves you capable of taking care of yourself and or others, in whatever case is your case. When in fact, like, I am good at different things. My attention is pulled, of course, in different ways and to different areas. So why shouldn't I capitalize on all of the different things? So yeah, that's a lot. That's definitely too much to be able to fully break down and discuss in a podcast about creativity. But here we are again, talking about capitalism. Yeah, scary, but exciting. I'm just really excited. What else? I have a short story, which is hopefully, if it gets published when they said it will get published, will be live on February 20. Exciting. I'm nervous. I honestly don't really know how to feel about it. I mean, excited, yes. This is kind of like something of mine will be published so visibly, and when I'm in a space where I confidently say that I'm a writer. Like when I was at the workshop and they asked us to introduce ourselves, the first thing I said was, I'm a writer. And that's really huge to me, because I wouldn't have, I mean, not that I wouldn't have said it before, but I think I would have said that I write. So that I partake in the act of writing, and not identified myself as a writer, because that's a title, that's a categorization. But I am a writer. And I don't know, there was something about that moment where I said it so confidently and it just came out, where I was like, okay, I guess I'm fully embodying this right now, which was cool and weird and scary. It was scary. I think because it puts expectations on myself that I am doing the thing, which I am. But that's kind of the danger, I guess. I am in a trap of my own making, but I do enjoy this trap. It's it's a good trap. It's a good trap. I like the trap. But that's kind of where I'm at right now, is feeling pretty good, feeling kind of flustered, feeling weird, but I think you can probably tell by my tone that the weird is certainly not a bad weird. It's just a weird and like a good weird. And I'm not examining it too closely, which is good. Okay, I examined some of it closely, but it doesn't feel like I'm spiraling, which is great. And honestly, we want to lean into that more and certainly for however long this is going to last. So we're leaning into it. That's what's up. Do I have any takeaways for this episode? A takeaway is there's pros and cons to both digital and physical spaces and products. I think, if you're listening to this podcast, then you're maybe a heavier digital user. Make something physical. Hold the thing in your hands. Lean on your networks. If you don't have a printer, ask somebody who does. Or the library is also great for making copies. Go to your local library. Support your local libraries. Oh my gosh. They are truly a wealth of resources and space. Yeah, support your public resources. Okay, I feel like that's it. I don't know where else to go from here. I would like to thank you very much for listening, being around to hear me ramble and rant and go off on many a tangent. If you're listening on a podcast app, please rate and review. It super helps me out and is so nice. And if you feel so inclined, please feel free to share any questions with me if you just want to chat or you want to share the thing that you're making. I would love that. The email is wellintendedpod@gmail.com. But besides that, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, a wonderful rest of your day. I will see you in the next one. I will talk to you in the next. I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye.